Taryl Dactal here. And maybe you got one of these single stage snowblowers that's got the rubber paddles. And maybe it's not blowing snow too good. And you know what the reason is? These rubber paddles are wore out. So a lot of these rubber paddles will have a little hole in them. And that little hole is a wear hole. When the paddles wear down to that little hole, that means it's time to replace them. But if your rubber paddle snowblower doesn't have a wear hole in it, a good way to tell if you need paddles and scraper is to see if you can get your fingers back behind the chute here. Because you know how these things work? Is the rubber rubs against the back of this, and that's what throws it. And when it gets wore out, it's not going to do a good job. Especially if it's wet snow. It's going to start clogging up in there. So it may be time for a set of new paddles and scraper bar. Because the paddles and scraper bar wear together. Just like on this snowblower here. There's a pretty good gap in there. And as you can see, that scraper bar is wore down. And look what happens when it starts to wear down. It starts to wear into this belt cover. So that's more added expense, because now you got to replace the belt cover, because snow is going to get inside where the belt is, then the belt's going to start slipping. So these are things you need to check on your snowblower yearly. Paddles and scraper. Make sure it's not starting to wear into that cover on the side. Because all you're doing is adding more cost and aggravation when you could be out clearing that snow. Now, two-stage snow blowers, that's where this is your first stage, and this impeller in the back is your second stage, in case you don't know what a two-stage snow blower is. They have what's called skid shoes, and they also have a scraper bar. Or a shave plate. Sometimes they call it a shave plate. That scrape on the ground, along the ground. Now these are adjustable, but they also wear out. As in the case of this one. See, look at this one. It's all wore through. So the same thing's going to happen. If you don't replace these, it's going to start wearing into the housing. And I've seen them to where the shave plate or scraper bar has worn all the way back to the bolts. And now you've kind of ruined the bucket on the snowblower. And a lot of them now have what's called plastic skid shoes. So they're easier on your concrete or asphalt. And when they wear out, you can flip them over and use the other side. So if you own a snowblower, those are things you need to check yearly. Your scraper bar, paddles, skid shoes. So I hope those little tips help you with your snowblower. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, Taryl Fixes All, that's me. You can also follow me with your snowblowers on Facebook and Instagram. And go to our web store, buy some Taryl apparel. Gotta be looking good when you're out there blowing that snow. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Check those skid shoes and shave plates. Woo! And rubber paddles too. Woo! 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 Keep that snowblower blowing. Woo! Who wants to use a snowblower?